Hi, my name is Madison Stewart, and welcome to my ePortfolio. Here, I'm going to kind of walk you guys through what I've been working on. I'm really excited to show you my activities, which is where I'll spend most of my time. I want to give a quick shout out to all of the instructors and teachers who have led me here and helped me. I am so excited to start this journey as a building leader. So here's the candidate info, the artifact folder where you can find all my information. It's organized by standard and by tab. Here are some goals in a video that you can watch. My leadership philosophy, which touches on communication, transparency, asking questions. Here is my plan of study. I did most of my courses in the summer of 2019 and 2020 as a teacher. I was able to use that time wisely to get moving on my master's. My resume, which is next, is, if it will load, is I'm currently at North Jackson as a PE teacher, and I coach 3 sports at the middle school. Love those kids. They are a lot of fun. My activity form at the bottom, you can scroll here and you can find that I have 150 hours and have used each standard. Activity tracker. This was a great tool. Thank you to Dr. Moody for creating this just to keep everyone on track. It corresponds with my activities and with my activity form. My verifications, there are 3 from the superintendent, the elementary principal, and the high school principal and athletic director. One of the biggest portions here was the annotated bibliography. As you can see, I have the questions that were given to us bolded, and then underneath there are 3 for each one with a summary, an assessment, and a reflection. Take a look at that and you'll find some really great sources and articles that pertain to leadership in education. Let's get to the meat of my presentation, the activities, which was the best and most fun part. On each one, you can get a quick link here to my artifact folder where you can find all of the stuff that I used, such as documents, slides, videos, links to YouTube, and so on. Each one also has links on the page to what you can get to, so it's easier. Let's get started here with mission, vision, and improvement, standard 1. As you can see on all of them, I have the original standard here, and then below I have it rewritten to create more space for my other artifacts and activities. So here I was able to work with the superintendent about our mission, and I took my previous school, which was Emporia High, and took some of their goals and their mission statement and kind of created and molded one for Jackson Heights. I found it kind of interesting that when I asked around to the teachers, like, hey, where can I find the mission statement? They said, do we have one? So something that I passed along to the superintendent and hope to really instill some goals as a district to give out to these students and staff. Standard number 2, ethical frameworks, talked with the superintendent and evaluated her ideas and decisions for COVID. We had a lot of hard decision making this year as staff, and just as the world around everywhere had to make tough, hard decisions for their kids. And just to put that out there, our school has stayed in session since August, and I am just so blessed that I got to be in person with my kids. One of the most fun standards and activities that I did was improving our school culture. One of the biggest things that stands out on this slide would be Teachers' Night at the Cockeyed Pig. I asked the board to provide appetizers for us, and we went to this restaurant, got to meet with other teachers from the other building, had fun, learned more about each other. Also, with the students, we did Candy for Kindness nominees. So teachers would nominate kids that they thought did something kind or saw them doing something kind, and we would write them a note, the counselor and pass out a piece of candy on Fridays. This was one of my larger activities, was the resource needs. We needed new jerseys for boys basketball in the middle school, high school girls basketball, and middle school track. So I created jerseys. I worked with vendors. Here is a chart that I created with different prices and different styles. I also worked with technology equipment and subscriptions within our school. I got a list, made a table, and kind of worked with teachers to decide if they wanted to renew or needed to renew their subscription. Last but not least, I got to sit in on an English interview, which was super fun. I got to ask questions, and we ultimately decided to hire this person, and it was super cool to be part of that decision-making process and to be on the other side of an interview. Never been on that side before, so it was pretty cool. Moving on to elementary. Here, I did 7 activities because I would like to be a high school athletic director. So this one was my second step in my activities, which would be standard 1 was comprehensive plan. We worked together, me and the superintendent worked together to come up with how we would incorporate students, community, parents, teachers to create a mission and make sure that we are all on the same page, which is something that Jackson Heights really needs. Standard 2, second step. This is something that we use for grades K through 8, and I teach this during PE time. Was able to work on some of these skills here. This is just one unit, but it's all the things that kids need to be good people. You know, working on how to handle their emotions, which is very, very important. Another little chart / graphic that I made was leading with a moral compass. What does it feel like to me to lead, and how do I make those decisions? What do I feel? Ed resources. We have a reservation that is close to our school, and there's a Johnson O'Malley Indian Registry. Here they give things to students in need, and we also have tools for schools that help with different, if you need a backpack or if you need supplies for kids that are in need of those types of resources. Improvement practices. I had made a table here, had been asked by the superintendent to look for sources on summer school and find what we could use to create our curriculum and our norms. So in this table, I found different sources and then condensed the information for her to look at and see what she thought and found useful. I also did some other presentations like technology-rich curriculum and identifying effective schools, and also evidence-based instructional practices. 5, our community is not very diverse, so I was able to only find 4 things that we really used as a school, and the superintendent helped me identify these, and then I looked into them a little deeper and found what they help us with in our school. Last but not least, I worked with the counselor on a master schedule for our elementary school, and this was a very long process and didn't realize how hard that was going to be. That's a lot of planning with teachers, administrators, and staff. The last one here is our school's not very into Google yet, which my last school was all Google. So I was able to take what I know and what I've learned and lead a presentation for teachers on Google for grades 4th, 5th, and 6th. Secondary. This is where I spent a large majority of my time. Gonna kind of move through this, but I am on the SIT team, which helps with kids who are in fear of not graduating or not on track. It's a middle school and high school program. We have kids on our caseload, and it's kids that aren't on an IEP but need assistance and motivation and things of that nature. Here you can see that I helped with a lot of documents. We've really revamped the system this year, and we're able to make it better for these students. Standard 2, reflective practices. Here's Lyon County, things that we can celebrate and need growth. I also did a culture survey for Jackson Heights, which was really enlightening on what our teachers thought about our school and our culture. So you can read more about that in my analysis. 3, Zello is a platform we use for our kids in the future, where they're going to go to college, what they're going to do post-secondary. We didn't have a lot for our kids with special needs, so I worked with the counselor to come up with things that we could do among attending a online conference and making a strategies to differentiate instruction for our teachers. Census data, I made a video on how this pertains to our school and student learning. We are made up of 4 different towns, very, very small towns, and you can see that here to the right in the photo. Standard 4, this is something I worked on with the band teacher, which was an EdTech working list. We were able to kind of come up with things that we could use for COVID and online learning, which was really helpful to a lot of our teachers that don't do a lot of that technology stuff. Assessment evaluation. Here I have a meaningful assessments video that kind of goes into depth on culture and how it relates along with the summative and formative assessments and how they differ. Here is our STAR results, which is standard 4. We use this testing data to kind of create what we're going to do in our next year and our next step. So I was able to come up with a video for our teachers on STAR test results and what we could do to create more success. Demographics. Why is demographics important? And then also analysis video on Emporia demographics. It's important to understand this information for student learning. Game day operations. Spent a lot of time here supervising games, working with people who are working the games, players, coaches, referees, and things of that nature, along with the money that we counted and made sure that we had at the end of the day. Classroom observations. This was awesome. I got to go into several different classes during my plan period and learn about what they're doing and give suggestions to those teachers for how they can improve and what they're doing great. And that was really fun just to be with those other classes to see what's going on in our school. Last tab for me is the program reflection. And on this, there are 6 stages of reflection, and you can go in and read what I've written about this. Some of my presuppositions were that this was going to be very time consuming. It was going to be hard. This is my first year at a new school, don't know much about it, but I was able to get out of my comfort zone and ask questions and make sure that I could get new information. And overall, this portfolio has helped me learn so much about the current school that I'm in, and I am very grateful for that. At the bottom of this, you can see that I have given an activity for each class and how that has impacted my future as a leader. And I would like to finish by just saying thank you for watching and thanks for everything that my teachers have done at Fort Hays. This has been a great program, and I look forward to my future as a building leader.